My name is Nora Holloway, and what was supposed to be just a simple family celebration turned into the moment I finally dared to admit to myself that for years I had been living a life that wasn't mine. Not my dreams, not my values, not even the woman I once believed I was. My mother-in-law, Elizabeth Cranfield's 70th birthday, was held in a historic villa by Lake Como, a place where old European families only open the doors for those they consider truly distinguished. The villa, with its ancient stones, towering windows, and a heavy sense of history breathing through the walls, felt more like a museum than a home. I arrived early as always. Over the years, I had learned that if I didn't take responsibility for everything, everything would fall apart. That was my unspoken role. The woman who manages it all, yet is never seen. The hall was flawless. Candles arranged with precise spacing, soft classical music floating in the air. Flowers arranged obsessively, every single bloom perfectly straight. But when I looked at the main table, my heart sank. The air felt suddenly heavy. I counted the chairs. Once, twice, and a third time with hands that trembled slightly. My name wasn't there. No card. No plate. Not even a glass. My absence wasn't an accident. It was a decision. A decision made long ago, executed tonight. I quietly approached my husband, Richard Cranfield, and in a voice I tried to keep steady, I spoke. He smiled, the same smile that always meant, "Stay quiet." "Probably a mistake," he said. "Don't make it bigger than it is." Then his family laughed. Short, controlled laughs, but full of satisfaction. Laughs that stung more than any insult because they showed exactly what they had expected. At that moment, I realized this wasn't just a bad night. It was the culmination of years of being ignored, belittled, pushed aside. Here's what you need to know, because this is where the story changes. I wasn't just Richard's wife. Never was. I was the founder of Orem Society, a luxury event management platform. The system behind the scenes of the grandest ceremonies, villa contracts, Michelin chefs, private jets, and VIP tours. A system whose name was in the contracts but never in the family conversations. Almost this entire celebration, legally and financially, was under my company's name. And as I stood there with no place to sit, my phone buzzed. A simple notification, yet it landed like a final blow. All contracts are cancelable. Richard and I had met years ago at an economic conference in Amsterdam. He was the heir of an old family, polished, confident, with expensive suits, a self-assurance born of his surname, not his achievements. No real career path, yet always certain the future owed him. I had climbed from zero, through sleepless nights, repeated rejections, fighting to be taken seriously. I thought these differences could complement each other. I was wrong. His mother, Elizabeth, set the boundaries from the very first dinner. She raised her glass, smiled, and said, "You're smart, for someone not from our class." Everyone laughed. I laughed too. That day I learned to swallow humiliation with a smile. After the marriage, my ideas were ignored, my achievements belittled, and my business called a luxury hobby. Every time I protested, Richard said, "Don't be sensitive, that's their culture." And I mistakenly thought love meant tolerance. Months before the party, cracks began to show. Late payments. Repeated calls from suppliers. Accounts mysteriously empty. One night, Richard left his laptop open. I wasn't looking for anything, but the documents revealed everything. Loans, debts, failed investments. The family that pretended their wealth was endless was collapsing from within. I used my own company's credit to preserve appearances, telling myself it was temporary, just until things stabilized. They never did. 3 days before the flight, a misdirected message revealed everything. An unfamiliar name. A few short sentences. Then an ultrasound photo. Pregnant. And worst of all, Richard's mother knew. Suddenly everything made sense. This birthday wasn't just a celebration. It was the official ceremony of my removal. A silent farewell to a woman who no longer fit the family picture. I didn't fight. I didn't cry. I stayed silent and started collecting proof. In Italy, I became invisible. Plans changed without me, purchases made without me. In every photo I was always one step behind. It was as if they were rehearsing my absence. Every smile was a practice in saying goodbye. And then came that night. The same table. The same empty chair. When I realized there really was no place for me, I simply said, "It seems I'm not family." Not with anger. Not with tears. With the calm of finality. And I left the hall. Outside, the night air was cold, but my mind was the clearest it had ever been. I took out my phone and began. Lunch at the vineyard tomorrow? Cancelled. Private boat? Cancelled. VIP tours? Cancelled. Payments reversed. In less than 30 minutes, a dream party became a financial disaster. Richard's phone rang off the hook, messages pouring in, but I didn't respond. For the first time, power was in the hands of someone who had stayed silent for years. You've stayed with me so far, thank you. This isn't just Nora's story. It's the story of anyone who's realized one day they've endured too much. If this moment of the story resonated with you, help it reach more people with just a small like, and if you want to hear stories like this, subscribe now because the rest of this journey is exactly for you. I left Italy on a first-class flight, using the perks I'd earned from those same contracts. Symbolic. Quiet. Weeks later, the Cranfield name echoed in financial circles. Debts, lawsuits, the collapse of an old facade. Richard returned, begged, said he had made a mistake, said he still loved me. But I was no longer the woman who would diminish herself to stay. The divorce was simple and silent. I took only what was rightfully mine. No more, no less. My work flourished, my reputation grew, because even when broken I remained professional. 6 months later I sat on a terrace by the sea. A gentle breeze. An empty chair across from me. The same chair that once symbolized humiliation, now a symbol of awakening. And now I ask you, if you were in my place, which moment would resonate the most? The humiliation, the power, or the moment you realize real worth doesn't need anyone's approval? Leave a comment. This time I really want to know what you think.